Good evening, respected panel, and respected senior members who have come all across from US. It is an honor. I am missing Dr. Samir and Kintur sir. I would have loved to see them here. And first of all, a word of gratitude, sir. I came here for the first time in 2008. When I just finished my DM in 2008, and it was my first, and we were thinking ephemeral those times, and TRICO and you, sir, and all others who were with you, Sanjay, sir. You have brought a radial revolution in this country, and today when I'm working in one of the remotest places in India, in the foothills, and now we know the difference, how important it is to have the route when there is no technical backup. And today it was very nice to see you also. I mean, to be there, taking it to the next level. My best wishes to you. I would like to take on ulnar access. We had been doing radials for quite a number of years, for a decade. And 5 years back, we thought that why should we shift to femorals? And that's the time when we decided that let's go and find out about this artery. Transfemoral route has been the preferred route for decades in all percutaneous coronary diagnostic CATs and interventions. And transradial route took over due to obvious advantages of patient safety, comfort, less vascular complications, and early ambulation, and became the preferred route in the last decade and is being used world over. Transulnar is increasingly being used as a safe alternative now to radial route, with a growing body of evidence in its favor. We present here our ulnar experience so far, the challenges and some revelations while working. I'll go through quickly, and I promise that I'll not be too boring. The concept of dominance. I'll talk about the relative anatomy, the challenges and advantages of ulnar, the basics of the puncture, hemostatic challenges that we face, and the common mistakes that we do while achieving hemostasis, and some same side ulnar after a radial stick. Is it possible? We've been very successfully doing it. I'll show you how. And 7F and left main interventions and bifurcations. And a quick look into our data. We have published some data in 24. So, like the human brain or the handedness, one of the two is always dominant. So you have the hand, and one of the arteries is dominant, you will find. But the sad part is that we always have been deceived by the surface. So the radial was superficial with a styloid process below. So it is the pulse that we've always palpated. And since ulnar was deep, it didn't receive as much attention as it should have. This is, as you can see, there are different classifications that have been given by people on how the radius and the ulnar artery, they bifurcate, and how they, sometimes it's a high origin. And God has created backups everywhere, whether it's the brain, whether it's the hand, there are collateral circulations. So there's a third artery also, which we don't look into it, which is known as the median interosseous artery. And sometimes you'll find that this is one of the biggest arteries out of the three. And we also found that professions and what people do, like farmers or skilled craftsmen, or we found in females also in our study, the size of the ulnar artery was far bigger than the radial artery, probably because of the use of the hand more. And this is the relative anatomy. You can see. One big challenge in doing the ulnars is its very close proximity to the ulnar nerve. And it's deeper seated, no bony suffered. Slippery punctures, needs precision in patience. And ulnar nerve has a very close proximity, and hemostasis is a challenge post-procedure. There are advantages of the ulnar over radial artery. One is the lesser branches, lesser spasm. We haven't found any spasm in ulnar artery. And lesser tortuosities and lesser hematomas, because you don't have side branches. We in our lab, we have made it a point that we won't go up through the forearm without fluoroscopy. It may add up a little radiation to our own cells, but we go a little lateral and go up, because many times, sometimes you perforate little branches through that puncture wire that you use for radial puncture while putting in the sheath. So this is the hardware that is used for radial, and it's better to use a smaller size cannula. The technique is skin is prepared with local anesthesia. Ideal puncture site is 0.5 to 3 centimeters. Needle insertion 45 to 60 degree. I don't need to reiterate that. Puncture is done with a 20G plastic cannula, and hydrophilic sheet is introduced. This is a quick video. Won't take much long. It's almost the same. There's only one video in this presentation, and that is this one. Here you are. This is the same. I would also like to add here that it is not always the puncture or the sheath, inserting the sheath, that will cause ulnar nerve damage. Only infiltration of xylocaine can cause, and there have been times when we have seen complications ranging from numbness to motor deficits. But let me assure you that out of the two, all these motor deficits also come back in 4 to 6 hours. You don't need to worry about that. Only thing is that there shouldn't be multiple jabs. If you're, this is how you achieve hemostasis. There's a little difference we always place a small gauze under this for a wider pressure, because you don't have a bony prominence to hold your TR band to. And this I've already talked about. You should avoid doing multiple needle jabs. If you're not hitting it, take your cannula out and go again, rather than moving right and left, because that is the way how you damage nerves. And this is the anterior intraosseous artery or the median artery. And these days, when we find a loop, there was a time, sir, we learned from here only balloon-assisted tracking, and how it used to go smoothly up. Now we have started doing the same side ulnar, and we are also publishing data on. There's a pretty large number of cases that we have been doing. But the caveat is that you don't have to have peripheral vascular disease. Vessels have to be clean. And here, in the same case where we found a loop, we went through the ulnar side. And yes, it is possible, but we have how to take out sheets. So when you do ulnar on the same side in the same procedure, it's just after you finish the procedure, take out the radial sheet, and keep the platysma always on. And this is how you rest. Then once you're done with, you get the arteries back, radial arteries back, then you take out the other one also. And these are the registries that have been done in same wrist interventions. I will go through them quickly. And a lot of data on same side. You have to be very, very meticulous and be careful. These are the bifurcations that can be easily done through ulnars, whether it's left main or, and you'll still meet the curvy highways. And this is some of the numbers of a 350 cases study. We found females had bigger arteries, and spasm was very less. Fluoroscopy time almost the same. We found lesser number of swellings and lesser hematomas and no spasm, and not at all, no ulnar artery occlusions were seen in our study. This is the study published in 2024 from our group, and the various other studies. And taking you away from the talk, this is translunar ulnar arteries, a safe and effective alternative to radial approach in coronary diagnostic and interventional procedures. And ulnar route can be the first choice. And these days we have trained our technicians and ourselves also, not only when we check the pulse, we check both the radial as well as ulnar. And the right way, the wrist way, and radial or the ulnar. This is the book that I have recently got published in 7 months back, Heart, A Fistful of Life. It is available on Amazon. And the last page of this book is dedicated to TRICO. And these verses are mine. I shall touch your heart through roots thine. Let them smell the roses, earth and clay be mine. Thank you.
What about ultrasound usage for puncture?
Yes, we have, sir. We have a cath lab. We have that handheld Doppler. We use it.
So are most of your punctures ultrasound guided?
No, not at all.
Not, okay.
We do
Good.
it.
So the other thing is that simultaneous puncture that you showed, people do use, once the radial is occluded in a re-intervention, people tend to take ulnar on the same limb. Do you have data sets on that as well? When
Yes,
the
yes,
radial is lost?
I showed.
No, not the same sitting. Not the same sitting. You have done a radial procedure.
Oh, I got it. So if we have lost the radial and
Follow-up procedure.
we never take the ulnar.
That's the point. So
That's not the right way.
right. But when you do simultaneous radial ulnar puncture, again, the patent hemostasis is what you chase, right? So I think that's a very important aspect. Again, Dr. Tejas Patel's paper only, what are the predictors of occlusion or of pulse, where the heparin pressure, patent hemostasis were some of the predictors that was there. Sir?
Yeah, one of the European operator from Macedonia, Sasko Kedov,
His paper
he
is
has
there.
been
sir.
very fond of ulnar. But initially we also did quite a few, and now we are using it in a very reserved fashion. You can always, you do cases and you get used to. But only one thing, which I found from the literature was that embryologically, ulnar is the continuation of sorry. It is the continuation of the brachial, and radial is an offshoot of brachial.
Yes, that's correct.
Radial being an offshoot of brachial, even if you create problem with radial, you know that there is collateral. Ulnar, of course, we don't know about that, but somehow there is a deep-seated network in the palmar arch. So most of the patients don't have.
Yeah, the intraosseous artery also is one of the artery that
Absolutely.
saves
I think
the.
that saves the ulnar also.
But I too have been doing ulnars in cases where they're the simultaneous puncture. But we had a patient who had neuropexia, and the motor recovery took 4 weeks. And then we realized, because of not the puncture, but the hemostasis, the technique of hemostasis, because when you press it, that's a big problem. So I think right strategy is radial first. That's what I believe. If you have something against a bone, away from the nerve, anatomically, as sir said, embryologically, a branch, why not go for it? And then, of course, ulnar as an
And about the puncture in radial, Rajiv and Malcolm, I like to ask you guys, what about US? Because now US also, a lot of people are doing radial. We see so many people coming with a very low radial puncture in this ligament, and they have complaint of chronic pain. So I always tell my fellows to puncture a little high and don't ever puncture in first 2 centimeter, 2.5 centimeter. But somehow we come across so many this type of punctures. So that is one thing. But it's a very nice work you have done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suresh.